I am the monster, rah rah rah. I am the monster, rah rah rah. I am the monster, I am the monster, I am the monster, rah
Hello
rah
and welcome back to the channel. I'm Spencer Penrod. I'm a world builder who makes worlds for stories and D&D games, things like that. Today we are jumping back into Epic the Musical, looking at the Vengeance Saga. Last time we saw the Wisdom Saga, where we got introduced to Odysseus's family, saw the situation back home, and then saw a little bit about Athena trying to break Odysseus free because he's currently being held captive by Calypso. Um, Before we get into things, I just wanted to take a moment to quickly mention, as we are nearing the end of this series, we've got this video and one more. I am looking to start up some more series, more reactions, and at the same time, I'm launching a Patreon to hold my backlog and let you guys see the animations a little earlier. So if you want, check out the link in the description where you can see videos before they come out. I will be holding a poll to see what else I should be reacting to that patrons can vote on. So if that's interesting to you, go hop on over there and check it out. There's a free trial, so you can vote without spending any money if you want. And with that said, let's go ahead and jump on in here to the Vengeance Saga and see what we've got.
Someone arrived today. They said they're taking you away, that you're not mine to save. And soon I won't get to see your face, so I came by to say you're unlike anyone I have ever known, 'cause you're all I've ever known. And if I pushed you, or if I came on too strong, or if I ambushed you, for that I'll say I was wrong. And if you hate me, then I am sorry, my love's too much for you.
So I had wondered in the last saga, we saw her using a lot of loving language while doing things that were genuinely not okay. Even if I heard someone mention that the animatic I was looking at portrayed her a little more villainously than was intended. But even without the animatic, she was keeping him here for 7 years against his will. So if nothing else, that is pretty messed up. But despite that, she was always calling him darling and saying how much she loved him, saying he was the love of her life. And here she is very apologetic, saying she definitely still loved him, and saying maybe she came on too strong. I had theorized that she was wanting love and didn't quite know how to handle the emotion of it, that it wasn't something that was familiar to her. And I feel like this is reinforcing that theory to me, because she's saying that she still loved him, she still loves him, but is sorry for her actions being too much, being too restrictive or oppressive, coming on too strong, things like that. I think that she is really meant to be someone who has genuine feelings for him, but hasn't experienced those feelings before. She wanted them, but didn't know how to handle them. And so the result of that is trapping Odysseus, is forcing him into some kind of a relationship with her, into potentially brainwashing him, or assaulting him. In either case, it seems like everything she did was born out of this twisted love she had. It twisted not because she is evil and twisted, but because she just can't comprehend the emotion correctly. and is trying to figure it out. And the process of figuring it out was kind of brutal for Odysseus, but she didn't mean it to be. That's the read I'm getting on her, at least.
But I'm not sorry for loving you. 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 Calypso. Let me speak. I spent my whole life here. Was cast away when I was young, alone for 100 years. I had no friends but the sky and sun. So when you washed ashore, I thought for sure that you were my dream come true. I thought I knew. So if I pushed you, or if I came on too strong, or if I ambushed you, for that I'll say I was wrong. And if you hate me, then I am sorry, my love's too much for you.
So, yeah, again, here we hear that she was just abandoned here as a child and never had anyone else around her. So this kind of childish view she has on love, where it's kind of something to possess for her, really makes a lot of sense with that, where she was aware of the concept of love and wanted it and thought that Odysseus washing up meant that he was hers, but didn't really understand the nuances of the emotion. And it sounds like over the course of these 7 years, she's learned and grown a lot because of her time with Odysseus. But that it might have only been relatively recently where she's realizing that maybe her actions were not okay. And that despite how much she feels like she genuinely loves him, that isn't necessarily an excuse to trap him away. So yeah, that's an interesting characterization of her, where the reason she did wrong was out of this like childish misunderstanding of the world and the way emotions work and things like that. And she's kind of growing out of it now.
But I'm not sorry for loving you. 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 I'm not sorry. I'm angry and tired and restless and sad. I'm stuck in the moments I swore that we had. I wish you would chase me or try to embrace me for once. I wish you would lie and say
I love you,
you do.
but not in the way that you want me to.
I hate that I fell in love with you.
Hate that I fell in love with you.
Why did I fall in love with you?
Why did I fall in love with you?
What do I do with this love for you?
What do I do with this love for you?
How am I supposed to get over you?
How am I supposed to get over you?
Why in the world won't you love me too?
All right. That was a fairly simple animatic, mostly dealing with characters and motivations. I find the interesting part of that, though, mostly being that she was banished here and left alone. She is a goddess, but was sent here as a child. So I wonder if she is something like the result of some gods cheating on their wives or something like that, and was banished to not be a reminder of it. Because otherwise, I don't know why you would banish a child. That just seems overtly cruel, and like there can't be many reasons for it. Maybe she had too much power, or the power that she had was kind of uncomfortable for others to be around. That would be another reason I could see. But she also seems to retain some measure of authority, because they were presumably using her to keep Odysseus captive because Zeus had to overrule her influence here. It seems like there were intentional things keeping Odysseus trapped that the rest of the gods were privy to and acknowledging, approving of. That's the phrase. So for her to retain that authority but also be banished says to me that she likely has notable and convenient power, but is someone that people just don't want around for whatever reason, which is sad for her. Understandable why she would just latch on to the first person that seemed to fulfill her desires, even if it wasn't in a healthy way.
600 men, 600 deaths under my command, 'cause I had one goal in mind. No fleet, no band, only this raft that I made by hand. How will I reach my homeland?
All you have to do is not open this bag.
Hermes?
Hello, old friend.
So you're the one who talked to Calypso. Why are you here?
You're being given a final option. Consider this your one last chance to make it back home and abandon caution. Wash it away like the blood your hands have known. I know if you dance with fate, then I know you'll enhance your state.
If your plan's so great, then why'd you wait to say it?
Well, it's a little bit dangerous, my friend. You need a...
So I was waiting to pause here because I was hoping you would explain the bag. We've obviously seen Odysseus have that before, but it sounds like the implication here is that Odysseus used up all of the bag that he had before, which makes sense, having opened it twice. But also it implies that Poseidon is still pissed off at Odysseus and blocking the way. And it implies that the gods didn't just vote to free Odysseus from Calypso, but they also voted to get the winds sealed again so that he could navigate past Poseidon. And Hermes here went to the wind god to get the bag to give to Odysseus to give him another chance. That's what I'm getting from it, at least. I was hoping he would explain more about where it came from and why he was giving it, but it seems like he might not do that.
Mindset change for this. You cannot get away with playing safe for this. You wanna get home, put it all on the line, put your whole brain in it. Remember every trick in your domain for this. You gotta treat it like it is the main event. You wanna get home, put it all on the line, be dangerous.
Alright, I'm in. What do I do?
First up, uncharted waters. When lost, look towards the sky. Follow the North Star, no matter how far you think you're going. You keep on rolling. When strangers look around the aisle, when danger greets you with a smile, fight your way through, do what you must do. But no matter what, keep moving. It's gonna be dangerous, my friend. You need a mindset change for this. You cannot get away with playing.
So he hasn't explicitly said this, but it seems to me, especially with Athena telling Ares that there would be more blood if Odysseus got free, it seems to me like the gods are setting up Odysseus's way home to be especially dangerous just so that he has to fight and prove himself. I don't know where Calypso's island is in relation to anything, obviously. But it sounds like through the positioning of where that island was, or through just what they have in store for him, it sounds like they're stacking the deck against him for their own entertainment or satisfaction. And Hermes here isn't warning him that he has to retain this ruthless mindset that he's settled on. He's warning him that he is like doomed to face challenges, that he can't take a safe way home anymore. It's not the typical warning that you would give to someone on a long journey like this, that it's going to be dangerous in general. I think it's specifically him saying, we have made this dangerous for you. That at least is what I'm understanding from it.
Say for this, you wanna get home, put it all on the line and put your own bread in it. Remember every trick in your domain for this. You gotta treat it like it's the main event. You wanna get home, put it all on the line, be dangerous. And lastly, the win back. We went through so much to get this. Keep this bag closed if you wanna get home, sir.
You won't get another time to try.
The raging storm inside won't let you get closer.
It was meant to stop you by design.
'Cause no mortal can pass Poseidon's storm. Open this bag and you'll never make it home. You'll never make it home.
Don't you know that day?
Okay, so they did talk about the bag a bit, and it sounds like I was right. What's notable to me is Hermes saying that they went through so much to get this. From the gods we've seen that seem to have some kind of ruling authority, like Zeus, Hephaestus, Ares, Aphrodite, Hela, Athena, all of the ones that were in the last saga at least. They didn't seem like they were... I've mentioned before that we've seen two types of gods. One of them is the literal embodiment of a thing. Like the wind god was literally made of wind. It was literally the wind. The second type seems to have some kind of ruling authority over a domain, but isn't actually that domain. So what I'm getting from this is that the wind god at least, and potentially those kind of gods in general, exist outside of the structure of the ruling authority of gods. And that in order to get this wind bag, they had to negotiate or play a game or something to satisfy the whims of that wind god. And they weren't able to just say, give us the wind because we command. They had to actually, like, put in work for it. Maybe that's a lot of work, like Hermes is implying. I would expect that gods, even if they don't have the authority to say, give this to me for free, they have a lot of bargaining power. So I can't imagine it was actually as much work as Hermes was implying. But it is interesting to say that they at least put in some effort to get this for Odysseus. It's also notable that Poseidon wasn't stopped in his efforts to prevent Odysseus from getting home. That could be because he seems to be the same kind of embodiment god that the wind god did. We saw that he was made up of water before. It could also be that he has enough power that the other gods can't command him. And finally, I think the most likely option is that the gods view what he's doing as right enough that they can't command him to stop. That they are saying, yeah, we'll help Odysseus get a chance, but Poseidon is kind of in the right here because Odysseus really fucked up. And we aren't going to just give him a free pass because Poseidon has the right to be angry, has the right to stop him. So Odysseus has to prove that he's able to get over that challenge on his own.
Danger is my friend, my whole life I've trained for this. I cannot tell you how much I have paid for this. I have to get home, put it all on the line. I'm gonna use ruthlessness, every trick, every skill put to use for this. I plan to put an end to all the foolishness. I have to get home, put it all on the line, or be dangerous. Hermes, thank you.
Don't thank me, friend. I'm not the one who fought for you.
Then who?
Good luck. Well, it's a little bit dangerous, my friend. You need a mindset. All on the line.
Ooh, more monsters. So big monster in the sea. Immediately reminiscent of Scylla. That's how you pronounce her name, right? Obviously, Scylla and Charybdis. I'm going to butcher that pronunciation. They're kind of a thing in mythology. They are often presented together. I don't remember if we've actually heard that so far in this musical or not. But we definitely haven't heard any details of what this thing is. So him having to go through and fight past it, presumably, is really interesting. We saw with Scylla that he chose to take the easy road and just sacrifice men to get through. That's not an option here for him. And even if it was an option, it sounds like Hermes was saying he has to fight now. He can't take the easy road anymore. So I'm wondering if we're going to see him having to kill this thing in order to get past.
You must be who Hermes mentioned. A monster here to block my way. I'd like to hurry up and end this. So if you don't have much to say, then oh, bring it on. I'm not dying here, I'm still fighting here. I'm holding on till I see it through, till I've beaten you. I already know your tactics. When you swallow, you attack with whirlpools that attract prey. But I see a disadvantage, cause I don't even have to kill you. I just have to avoid you. See if you don't spit it out soon, all that water will destroy you. Oh, bring it on till you're out of breath, till there's nothing left. I'm holding on till I'm in the clear, till I'm out of here.
So that's an interesting observation from Odysseus. It sounds like he's saying this thing is creating the whirlpools by literally swallowing huge amounts of water to cause the vortex. And Odysseus is assuming that it is so mundane in nature, even if it's very huge and monstrous, that the water is filling it up and it needs to spit it out to kind of repeat. But I feel like were I to see something like this, I would assume it's kind of magical or doesn't have the need to do that. Or maybe it's shooting water out of one end while it's swallowing it from the other. So he's betting a lot on this observation, which is really strange to me, not because I think he's wrong, but because it shows a faith in this thing following natural laws that I wouldn't expect. We haven't seen anything that's like super overtly magical so far, I suppose, other than the gods and their powers. So I guess it makes sense for him to think that this creature, despite being huge and scary, is operating on those natural laws. It's just not what I would assume. Maybe that's the D&D player in me, though, thinking that there's too many different kinds of magic that a monster can be. But it tells us a lot about the world, that even after everything he's seen and heard of, that he doesn't believe that there are creatures that can break the natural order of things, even if it's one of the most notable and dangerous creatures out there. It is still having to follow like biological constraints, which is really interesting to note. I would think that there were things that weren't constrained in that way, and that if there were any of them, that this would be one of them. But Odysseus seems so confident here that there must not be creatures that are free of those biological constraints. I think that makes it more interesting. It's like kind of like hard magic versus soft magic. When you have these limitations, it makes things more grounded and interesting. So it's cool that that's how monsters seem to work here. Was the implication there that he timed it well enough that he jumped in to get shot out? Like if he just hung out on the tentacles or the outskirts of the whirlpool, it wouldn't have shot him away. So he intentionally jumped into its mouth to get flung far away as it spat out the water. That would definitely be a very dangerous way to approach this. Very much the hard mode that the gods were seeming to want him to operate on, rather than just avoiding it and running away. Not that that seemed easy either.
I see it. The island I've been searching for. Home. I've reached it. My wife and son are past these shores. Holding on. I am almost there. My love, don't be scared. Hold on. I am on my way. I'll be there today. Penelope. What? No!
So we don't have a ton going on there to guess why he's freaking out. But the eyes in the water definitely call to mind Poseidon. So it sounds like he's coming back to get in the way here at the end, is my guess. Yeah, let's go ahead. I think we've got 2 left here. And then we're done with the saga. So let's see what we get. It sounds like Poseidon re-entering the stage.
There you are, coward. I've been waiting for this moment, for the perfect time to strike. When you're home so close and you've reached your coast, that's when our paths collide. I've got a reputation, I've got a name to uphold, so I can't go letting you walk, or else the world forgets I'm cold. Now get in the water. Get in the water. Or I'll raise the tide so high, all of Ithaca will die. Get in the water.
So he obviously doesn't need Odysseus to get in the water to kill him. He killed most of Odysseus's crew while they were on much better boats than this dinky raft. I think what it is that last time we saw Odysseus pretending to give up his pride a bit, pretending to plead with Poseidon, but still lying to him in the end. And I think Poseidon here is saying, you need to give up your pride this time, or I'm killing your kingdom. And the representation of that is that that he needs to get in the water and enter Poseidon's domain. I'm also noticing here, this sword is floating. I don't think swords do that when they're made out of metal. So I wonder if the sword isn't made out of metal, or if it's made out of some particularly light metal. I think Hermes gave him that sword, right? So maybe the construction of it is enough that it is buoyant enough to float. What a strange property for swords to have, but maybe more proof of the incredible workmanship that these weapons have, that it can be even buoyant. I don't know why you would do that, what benefits it would give, but it's notable.
Wait. Get in the water. Stop this, please. I'll make tidal waves so profound.
Okay, it might be about pride, but we see Odysseus here is legitimately bowing before Poseidon and begging him. So it's more than just pride, because Odysseus is already given that up. I have speculated that pride is the final line he's not willing to cross. That even though he frames everything in terms of his family, that pride is the actual reason driving him. And it seems like I'm either wrong, or like something has changed within him in these last, what has it been, 12 years since his crew died, that have made him realize that pride is worthless without his family. And so he's willing to give that up now because he's so close to home and he just wants to see his family again.
Make tidal waves so profound. Both your wife and your son will drown. No! Get in the water! Get in the water! Don't mistake my threat for bluff. You have lived more than enough. Get in the water! Get in the water! I'll take your son and gouge his eyes. That is unless you choose to die. Get in the water! You tired?
I wonder if suicide has some special meaning to the gods or the Greeks here. And Poseidon is trying to get him to commit suicide for whatever that meaning is. Like, if they view it as a sign of weakness or something like that, or shame or something, then I could see him wanting Odysseus to kill himself just to be especially degraded. Because Odysseus is entirely within Poseidon's power here. I guess the other thing it could be, we obviously see in this animatic that Odysseus gets knocked into the water. But I think he's meant to still be on the raft. And I wonder if part of the agreement of the gods was that Poseidon couldn't touch Odysseus unless he was in the water. That would also make sense to me. That rather than it being something to do with suicide, it's literally that they couldn't stop Poseidon, but they could limit him. And he can't do anything unless Odysseus is in the water because of the restrictions placed by the other gods.
Tired Poseidon, it's been 10 years. How long will this go? We're both hurting from losses, so why not leave this here and just go home? I can't. Maybe you could learn to forgive. No. Ruthlessness is mercy upon ourselves. Die!
Well, that seems like I was either wrong about him being limited by the gods, or Odysseus getting knocked off into the water in this animatic was meant to be him intentionally lowering himself into the water. It's definitely unclear from the lyrics alone, but it's also unclear if we trust the animatic why Poseidon was so insistent that Odysseus get in the water when he could just slap him in himself. But it also seems like he's not interested in making Odysseus commit suicide, since he just like stabs him. So yeah, I'm not really sure what to make of this. It seems like a really confusing thing for him to be held up on. And none of the reasons I could think of seem like they make sense with the rest of his actions. I wonder if we'll learn what that was about.
Look at all we've lost and all we've learned.
The implication there is that he opened the bag to get breath, right? I wonder if he's thinking he can cheat the gods, and that they weren't literal when they said if he opens it, he won't get home. Or if he's willing to make the choice that to stay alive, it's worth giving up the possibility of getting home. Like, it's possible the gods didn't literally mean if it's opened at all, he won't get home, and so the tiny little breath he took won't matter. But generally, I feel like they have shown that any transgression against themselves is really notable. So I feel like they wouldn't let that go. I'm interested to know his thought processes there a bit.
I've got a name to uphold, so I can't.
All right, and this is the last one. Yeah, last part of this saga. Let's see if we get any answers as to some of the questions we've had. So now, even if he didn't open it to get the breath, he's definitely trying to use it to fight Poseidon here. The storm seems to have come back because he opened the bag. I wonder if he's betting it all on saying that the reason he needs the bag in the first place is because Poseidon is in his way. So if Poseidon is out of his way, then nothing would stop him from getting home, even if the bag were open. So he's going to try and use the bag to fight Poseidon, to get Poseidon out of the way so that he doesn't have to worry about it.
I don't think you seem to get it. I can't afford to die, 'cause I will get back to my son. And I will get back to my wife! For every comrade, every one of my friends, almost all of whom were slaughtered by your hand, 600 strike!
Yeah, so he uses the bag, takes Poseidon's weapon, and stabs him, slashes him with it. I guess he really, like, he even cut the bag, so he can't close it again. So he's really betting everything on the fact that Poseidon is what's in his way, and hoping that he won't need the bag or the promise he made with the gods not to open it after Poseidon has been removed as an obstacle.
You idiot. Can't you see You sealed your fate just to beat me. You released my storm when you opened that bag. Blocked your one-way home. Now you'll never get back.
You're going to call off that storm.
Or what? You can't kill me.
Exactly.
So he's saying he's just going to torture Poseidon forever until he calls off the storm? Like, use the fact that Poseidon can't die against him just to inflict lethal wounds over and over again? Is that it?
Wait. Ah! How does it feel to be helpless? How does it feel to know pain? I watched my friends die in horror, crying as they were all slain. I heard their final moments.
I'm interested here why Poseidon is so helpless, though. Like, I guess we were wrong in the animatic we saw before. He wasn't literally water, because otherwise he wouldn't be bleeding or able to be pinned down like this. He must be one of the gods who has authority over water and was just like manipulating water around his body. That's what this animatic seems to suggest, at least. And the fact that Odysseus was able to like do this to him in the song suggests that. But even still, Poseidon is one of the most powerful gods we've seen, and it seems like Odysseus took him down with relative ease. So were the winds just that much more powerful than Poseidon, and that's why this was able to happen? Or was it something else? Like, is Odysseus just meant to be this superhuman, this insanely capable? Was it just like a confluence of luck and skill? It just seems weird that so relatively quickly one of the most powerful beings we've seen is rendered so helpless. I wonder why that is.
Calling their captain in vain. Look what you turned me into. Look what we've become. Enough. All of the pain that I've been through. Haven't I suffered enough? You didn't stop when I begged you. Told me to close my heart. You said the world was dark. Didn't you say that ruthlessness is mercy upon art? All right. Please. After everything you've done, how will you sleep at night?
Next to my wife.
All right. Well, that was a fun ending. That he was actually able to like get the upper hand. I feel like the most notable thing about that, though, was that it went on until Poseidon gave up and said, please. That once again, it feels like pride is kind of this theme we're seeing among the gods and people of this world, and crossing the line that means giving up on your pride and pleading with someone is one of the most significant things they can do. We saw Poseidon ignore Odysseus when he legitimately tossed aside his pride to plead with him. But here, I think Odysseus is satisfied knowing that if Poseidon is giving up his pride, that he has won, that he won't come back. Because he feels like pride is a bigger deal to the gods. At least that's how I'm reading it. But yeah, overall, I liked it. It was a little bit on the shorter side for my commentary. at least a little bit less about the world than I would have liked, but a lot of interesting developments at least. And then we will be back next time with the final part of Epic the Musical, the Ithaca Saga, I believe. So yeah, I'm excited to get into that. Thank you for sticking around and checking out the video. I hope you liked it. Subscribe if you want more like this, more analysis reactions. Check out the Patreon in the link in the description if you haven't. And I hope to see you next time.